great stuff there. I've been to several of the productions that they have done. Top notch.
It is. It's
well, we have a couple of folks here today. They're part of the cast of Young Frankenstein.
Who's here?
Or Frankenstein.
Oh.
Keith Boyd is here, and Willie is.
He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it.
Okay, so who's here?
Who's the beautiful?
Just you?
Oh, she's just a latchkey. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so we only have.
Keith Boyd.
That's all you need is
She's
Keith
a
Boyd.
groupie. She's one of those groupies.
Woohoo!
You talk about Newbern, North Carolina has absolutely the best entertainment of anywhere around, without a doubt. I have been there. Newbern Civic Theater is just a fantastic place to go to see some very talented people do some very fantastic musicals and plays. Keith Boyd is here. Keith, welcome to Downeast today.
Good to be had.
Thank you, sir.
Good to be had.
Now, you're going to be doing Young Frankenstein.
That is Young Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein, yes. I am Frederick Frankenstein in the show, and it is a musical. It is a musical based on the classic Mel Brooks comedy, one of the top 10 funniest movies ever made. I dare someone to challenge me on that. Written, the book, the lyrics, the music, written by Mel Brooks himself. It is a musical based on the movie there. You've got all the moments you love from the movie there.
Yeah.
You've got the bookcase that swerves around. We do that live on stage. You've got the monster, of course, who is played by the 7-foot-tall, ginormously, in stature and talent, George Oliver, who's a local attorney, for those who know him, in downtown Newbern. And is it a cast of, what's amazing about these shows, and thank you so much for the kind words you say about them, but what really is amazing about them is the fact that when you come and see Young Frankenstein, you're going to see actors, dancers, singers, sets, and costume. All of it has been done by volunteers.
Amazing.
Yes, no one, these people are not being paid for their time. These people are coming out there for the love of doing this show, for the love of theater, for the love of creating something together. Just like Young Frankenstein creates life in the laboratory, we're down there in the theater, it's alive. And that's what we're doing. And I marvel at the ingenuity of these people. Like I said, they figure out how to make the staircase or the bookcase swerve. Mm-hmm. They figure out there are some amazing lighting effects you will see when we bring the monster to life. The things they do with that 25-foot wide, 20-foot stage. Yeah. It is just astonishing. And
it's a beautiful theater that you have there.
And it's being done even more beautifully. We are getting very close to finishing the restoration of the exterior of the building.
Wow.
That's been in the work for some weeks now. Bridge and Lee has been working on that project, and we are very grateful. We are near to the end of that project, so the building, the outside of that building is going to shine like the talent inside. There's so many people that put so much work. There are people working behind the scenes whom you'll never notice.
Yeah, and one of the things, and that makes them professional at it. That's what makes them good, that you never know.
But that's the point, is like the lighting effects, the sound. The point is that if you don't notice it, they're doing their job right.
That's exactly right, and that is impressive. And I've seen that at the Newbern Civic Theater before. How about one of the things that I was impressed, and I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
The last time I was there is that the audience had the opportunity to meet some of the people.
After the show, there's always a meet and greet. You can come down and shake hands.
And that means a lot, especially to young people who are looking at theater for maybe their education or their career. To actually be able to go and meet would be hard to do at Broadway, on Broadway or off Broadway. That's somewhere like Newbern.
Well, I know we're about to go to break there, but I will definitely talk about theater arts are very important, and I'll touch on that in the next.
All right, stay tuned, folks. We're going to be back and talk with Keith Boyd. It's called Young Frankenstein, coming to the Newbern Civic Theater, and it's coming all through the month of May. So we're going to give you those dates again when Downeast Today returns.
And that's the show. 3 weekends in May. The musical comedy based on Mel Brooks's funniest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein.
Mel Brooks really put out a lot of great movies. And the guy is still funny.
Still funny to this day. Yeah, you will hear interviews with him. He is absolutely hilarious. And the musical is really funny. Like I said, all the music was written by Mel Brooks. No, they didn't just get some other schmomo to come in, take his classic movie, and just do what they want to with it. No, Mel Brooks himself took that screenplay that he wrote with Gene Wilder, and they formatted it for a musical format, and they put in the music. and it's absolutely hilarious. And I can't tell you how stressful it is to have to fill in the shoes of Gene Wilder.
Something tells me you're gonna be able to do it just fine.
It's a lot of fun. And like I said, we have a lot of talented people. You're just going to be absolutely amazed with what you see there. And I need to also mention our sponsor for the show
Okay, yeah.
is the law offices of Oliver and Cheek,
Okay.
located in downtown New Bern there. You might recognize that name because I mentioned George Oliver earlier.
Yes.
George Oliver, I'm sure there is absolutely no connections whatsoever. His company is sponsoring our show. He is also our monster. He is the creature.
Okay.
And he is a behemoth of a man. Not behemoth, that's not the word. He's a mammoth of a man. I mean, he has kind of a bohemian style to him, I guess. But he's just a mammoth of a man. He is tall. And not only is he already tall, it's funny because if you see the promotional picture of him and the other members of his firm, he is a good 1.5 feet above all of them. So it's a nice group shot, and then it's just level, Oliver, George Oliver, and then all the rest there. But
It's just like he's perfect for this part.
he's perfect. We also have him in shoes that make him even taller.
Wow.
But you have so many talented people on the stage here. Willie Sumner, who is the drama teacher at New Bern High School, he plays Igor, and it just
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
He would they'd look at the spelling and say Igor. No,
yes. Oh, you must be Igor. No, Igor. No, it's pronounced Igor.
Yeah.
And you've got Laura Wilson plays Inga. You've got Amy Curran as Frau Blucher. Just everybody's a scene stealer. George Savitz is Inspector Kemp and the Hermit. I dare anybody to not be rolling on the floor during the Hermit scene.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
insane. But you know, it's a wonderful. The reason I do community theater because I'm not being paid. I should be. That's how good I am. But you know, nobody is being paid there, so we do it for the love of it. And the number one reason I do it is because of the people. You meet some of the greatest, most talented people when you do these shows. And so I encourage you, whether you are in the Jacksonville area or the Wilmington area or anywhere in between, you know, if you're a fan of Young Frankenstein, come to downtown New Bern, go get dinner at one of our wonderful restaurants downtown.
Absolutely.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that if you come to see the show and you get the program, on the program, in the past at least, we've had you can get a discount if you go to Beer Army. You bring your program, you show that to them, the Beer Army Burger Company, and you can get a discount if you want to go there and get a bite to eat afterwards.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do.
Yes.
If you have a little bit of time,
All right.
we're going to take a break,
Okay.
and then I got to do a host chat time.
Sure.
And if you can hang around, I'm going to talk to you after that segment.
Okay.
Some more about your acting experience and a little bit about your TV work too.
I am egotistical enough to do that.
Okay, so you can hang around. You don't have to ask anybody's permission.
I don't need permission from nobody. Certainly not anybody named Meredith McKee.
We may convince her to come on the
Maybe.
set too. I want to find out about her acting as well. 1st of May, we'll be going over to Jacksonville.
And I will go to Jacksonville and record some segments for Downeast today.
I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
And it's Young Frankenstein. No, that's not her. That's Meredith McKee. And she is part of the production at New Bern Civic Theater. And Keith Boyd is here, and he's playing the part of Frankenstein.
Gene Wilder, Young
Yeah.
Frankenstein himself. That's right.
And
That's what this is for.
I normally do not have a mustache.
Oh, really?
I do not like
No.
facial hair, but you know, it's there's the whole thing about making a character your own. But then when you're dealing with material like Young Frankenstein, when you say Young Frankenstein, people think Gene Wilder. They think the mustache. They think that crazy hair.
So you'll have all of that.
Yes.
Yep. And a
Yes.
bag of chips.
And a bag of chips. So starting back in February, I was like, all right, there we go.
Yeah,
And
wow.
so grew it out there. I suffer for my art. I truly do.
Well, that's after a while, you'll suffer with a paycheck from that. Would you do this
Optimism.
professionally if you had the opportunity?
I would certainly give it a go. I think I would. You know, I don't know how far I'd want to take with it there, but there are certainly some shows I've done on the community theater level where I've said, you know, I could do this for 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
I could do this show. This is a hoot. There are other shows I've done where I've been like, oh, thank God that's over.
Yeah. How about that, Meredith? You've done a lot of productions and things. Have you ever had that feeling like where you really loved one, or you really thought, this is
Yeah, I can definitely say that happens. you know, it's the people that you work with, like he was saying, it's the people that you work with that really make it worthwhile, whatever you're doing. Even when you go through the hard times, like there have been some productions where you're just like, I can't believe we did that, but we all survived. And
Yeah,
then that's
and then
the camaraderie.
there has
you
been
have.
times in productions and things that I've done in Sunny where I absolutely thought the whole production was great, but I hated the song I had to sing.
Exactly.
I hated it. I loathed it.
But that's one of the things I
Then you
love.
got to sell it, although you hate the song.
Oh, that's the
you
acting
sell
bit.
it.
I mean,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
sometimes you can be sick as a dog. You can be just worn out. Like it could have been the worst work week you've ever had, and
Yeah.
then but you just. For me, I've always found like serenity on the stage. Anyway, you find a moment that's in there. You know, sometimes if you're really sick of everything else that you've got going on, you can really dive into a role. Maybe even find out something about it that you didn't. I've had those moments backstage right before going on with a song, and you're just like, oh, that's what I'm singing about. It's a good thing we're about to go into the last weekend, I guess.
Well, what's great about doing theater is that, you know, you meet great groups of people. Like I said earlier, that's why I like to do it there. But, you know, it creates this bond that you have. So that from now on, even if these are people that you see consistently in your lives or that you socialize with, when you bump them on the street, you always have this thing you can look back on and say like, remember the second weekend of that show?
Yeah.
You know, it creates this instant bond because you all work together to make something. And not only to make something, but it was put out there and people saw it, and you know, you did it with a purpose. And you know, we have such a great casting crew for Young Frankenstein.
And really, it turns out that nobody's trying to be the star, but the production itself becomes that production itself, the presentation is the star.
And those
That's
are the
what's
best
great.
shows, and that's what we have with Young Frankenstein. We've got a casting crew of some of the most humble and talented and wonderful people. They are there for the love of it, from the actors to the set builders to everything. The set is fantastic. You've got to come see the show, every aspect of it. There will be a live band performing the music
That was
we
a
talked
question
about
I did.
before. I think it's going to be about, I think it's going to be seven pieces?
I think.
6 or 7, I can't remember which, but it was like 6 or 7
I
pieces
mean,
of the live
everything from
orchestra.
like, you know, reeds, strings, the whole-
Violin.
yeah.
You
all
have to have a
that.
violin for Young Frankenstein, but you've got all that there. Like I said, you've got the dances, you've got the singing, we've got the people backstage who are going to be augmenting the vocals you'll be hearing. And like I said, you come and you will marvel because this is all homegrown, it's homemade. The reason it's called community theater is because it's being done by the community for the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give us again it's at New Bern Civic Theater.
New Bern
Let's have the rundown.
There we go. New Bern Civic Theater, which is on 414 Pollock Street, downtown New Bern, North Carolina. Box office number 252-633-0567. Go online, newberncivictheater.org. And we are opening the first 3 weekends in May, starting May 6th. We have Sunday matinees the first 2 weekends. Evening shows are at 7:30. Matinees are at 2 p.m. on those Sundays. And buy your tickets now because we want to sell out, and that's what we are trying to do.
What's that website address too? You can go there and pick your seat.
That's right. The website, once again, www.newberncivictheater.org. Theater spelled the fancy way with an R-E.
All right, folks, you don't want to miss this one. Thank you very much, Keith. Thank you, Mayor. We'll be back. Don't go away. All right.
All right. Thank you,
And
Rick.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Staying
Thank
up.
you.
We had a couple of segments open, so we just as well.
I can fill some time. Don't you worry about that.